Ah, the red crested gecko. We all know what they are. Most of us love a good red crested gecko, and today we're going to be taking a look at quite a few different varieties of them in this red crested gecko showcase. One of my main goals is to start to produce more and more red crested geckos, and so today I thought it would be important that we take a look through some of the projects that I'm working on and just some of the different varieties that red crested geckos come in. I'd say here I have a pretty good variety. There's really only one main type that I'm missing, and I'll talk about that later in the video. But without further ado, let's kind of start off at our base tier, which is your average red phantom crested gecko. You can see this girl here in front of you is a little bit older. She's a little bit more dull, as most red crested geckos do with age. They kind of dull out. So this girl's about 5 years old, but she's a great producer. And moving up a little bit, we have another female red breeder. This one's a little bit darker, obviously a little bit younger as well, but just kind of a different hue of red. The last one was more orangey. This one's a little bit more of a deeper red color, and we'll see some of her babies later on in the video. And those are kind of the phantom or patternless red crested geckos. Those two don't really have any white spots or white portholes going on. But now after we move up a little bit more, we got something like this. You can see this girl's pretty bright. She's also a little bit younger. This was one I produced, I think, 2 years ago. She's got a few small white spots, but nothing crazy. And the white spot trend, I guess you could say, is really popular right now with the phantom reds and the white spot or porthole geckos. So taking it up another little notch here, we have another beautiful red female phantom, again produced I think 2 years ago. She has some really nice white spots on the sides, even a little bit more than the last one. Different female that she came from, but again, very beautiful red phantom nonetheless. And to cap it off with our red phantoms, we have this beautiful boy here who's a new addition, sort of. He has a ton of white spots and cream spots, and these phantoms like this with these spots are just beautiful, and obviously probably why they're so popular right now. But this is just a gorgeous boy to cap off our kind of red phantom, or red phantom with white spots or portholes, or however you want to call it. Moving up from kind of the phantom animals, you might get into something like these pinstripes here. So this one right here isn't too red, it's a little bit muddier, but this one was from my Chimera. If you haven't seen that video, I definitely recommend watching that. It was the only gecko that was kind of red. All the other ones were very dark based. So this is a kind of an interesting one, but just a nice red pinstripe here, and something that I'm going to be kind of working on in the future. I haven't done a whole lot with pinstripes because generally I don't like them that much, but with the red ones, they're starting to really grow on me over the last couple months watching these guys grow up. I think they're pretty cool, and I'm definitely going to be adding some red pinstripes to the bunch. Now looking at a gecko that I would consider to be a little bit nicer than that one is this very bright, beautiful female here. Again, another full creamy pinstripe, but this one just has a nice bright red base color and has a little bit more pattern than the phantom. So if you're not into the phantom thing, maybe a red pinstripe is right for you. These are very beautiful geckos, and speaking of pinstripes, we can look at a male from the same clutch as that one we were just looking at. Another bright red, kind of creamy male. I have quite a few of these growing up here, all from the same pairing, but they're just so beautiful you don't want to get rid of any of them. But I do like a nice red pinstripe. So those were kind of our two more normal kind of morphs. You're really going to have the red phantoms and red pinstripes, and I guess you could say like red extremes, red tricolors, anything like that. Unfortunately, I don't own any red extremes, red tricolors, anything like that. So that's something I'm going to have to work on acquiring or producing here in the future. It's really just been the phantoms and the pinstripes as of late. But now moving on to one of the more true morphs here, I actually have a good variety of red lily whites. So here in front of you, we have a phantom lily white, which would have been the first kind of morph we were looking at, the phantoms with all the white spots. When you breed one of those to a lily white, there's a chance you can produce phantom lily whites that would look like this. This girl is not a very bright red, but she is a nice thick white phantom. Some of the phantoms are very low expression. This girl is definitely not super low. She has some little white creeping up her back. She's got good thicket on the sides. This is just a good example of a phantom lily white and a red one at that. Moving up a little bit from there, we have kind of your average red lily white. This one has pretty average coverage. It's got that very bright yellow on the sides. I don't know if you can kind of tell that, but this one's named Flamingo, which is kind of funny and kind of not fitting anymore. When he was little, he looked more pink, so I named him Flamingo, but now he's turning more red, and he's not fully fired up here, but this is a good example of your average red lily white. Good coverage, good color, just pretty average looking red lily white. Now moving up into something a little bit more extreme, we have this very high expression, very crisp, very clean, red-based lily white. This guy is perfect. He has a full solid dorsal. His pattern is very white. He's got that bright red base, and he's still small yet, so it's going to continue to develop as he gets bigger. But this is another thing that's been very popular, is the red lily whites. This guy is a superb example of a very nice high expression one, and this is something that I'm really going to focus in on hopefully in the next coming years as I produce more lily whites and more reds, of course. And what would a red video be without talking a little bit about Hellboy? I'm not going to go into it too much here, but this is one of the only geckos that's red that has a lot of pattern. Hellboy here is a chimera. I'm not going to go into it, but if you've seen the other video, you know what he is. If you haven't, I really recommend checking that video out. It's a great video. You can learn a lot about chimeras in that one. But this guy is very cool as well. He's a bright red when he's fired up. He's not too fired up here. I kind of woke him up from sleeping, but he's a very cool red boy nonetheless, and I'd rate him second to the top for cool factor as far as red goes in our showcase here. And at the very tippy top, we have a newly acquired gecko, Blood Diamond, who is a ready to breed 100% het phreathic red male with very nice white sides, white creamy sides as well. So this guy is going to be our last gecko for today, but this is just a cool gecko. You don't see too many red het axanthics, and this guy was ready to breed when I got him not too long ago, just a couple months back. So this is a very cool guy. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick red crested gecko showcase. If you'd like to see more of my red crested geckos, please check out my website or follow me over on Facebook or Instagram. I've been posting them almost every other day there, and so you can really get a good idea of some nice red crested geckos. Maybe you're in the market for one, maybe you're thinking about breeding them. Whatever the case is, check it out. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.